Hello, you're listening to E-Bible Fellowship's new open forum excerpts, and now we present the following excerpt.
Welcome to our open forum program. Please go ahead with your call.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
I've got 3 verses here. Genesis 7, verse 16.
Okay, Genesis 7:16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and Jehovah shut him in.
Okay. And Isaiah 26:20.
Isaiah 26. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast.
And Romans 12, verse 19.
Romans 12:19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
Okay. Isaiah 26:20 has always bothered me. I mean, even before May 21st, I called Mr. Camping a couple of times because I thought it was just saying so much. And of course, that was still the day of salvation. And he said, get into the ark, and that's perfectly fine. I totally agree. But it was, come my people. He's already speaking to those that are saved. But then now that we're in Judgment Day, in the ark, the Lord shut the door. But in Isaiah 26:20, he says, shut thy doors about thee. If we have the ability to shut the door, we also have the ability to open the door. And in doing so, we could let the world in, get involved in what the Lord is using as his vengeance in Judgment Day, which is division. And vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. I just feel like he's saying, stay out of my way while I'm executing my vengeance of Judgment Day. Don't get involved in the division. And that has nothing to do with feeding sheep, by the way. We're to do that. But don't get involved with his, you could actually just crack the door open and put fuel on the fire. And I just want to see what you thought.
The problem with that idea is they were commanded to shut the door, right? It's a command. Shut thy doors about. So whose will is being declared? Was it the people here? My people. Is it their idea, their will to shut the door? God's commanding them to shut the door, and so they're obeying. They're being obedient, and they shut the door. And to crack it open or to open it, well, he's not commanding that. He's not commanding that. So the idea, there is the door, who is Christ. I am the door, the way, the life. Well, I think I mixed that with John 14:6, but I am the door of John 10. Let me read it since I messed it up. John 10, verse 9, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved and shall go in and out and find pasture. Okay, so the door is Christ. He's the Word. And if you enter in through him, through the Word, faith comes by hearing, you'll be saved. And in the day of judgment, God here, it's interesting. We see in Genesis, in the flood account, God has the ability, the power to shut the door. And he did literally shut the door of the ark. Now, it could be that, that's a supernatural thing, by the way, for God, who's a spirit being, to move matter, the physical door of the ark, and shut it. So it could be, since Isaiah 26 is really speaking about Judgment Day, And there's no supernatural activity taking place, but in any way, it is a spiritual door in both cases that's in view of salvation. And when the saints, the elect children of God, were commanded to go into the world with the gospel, on one hand, we read, I think it's in Isaiah, how beautiful are the feet of him that brings glad tidings of good news. And in Romans, I think it uses the plural pronoun them. How beautiful are the feet of them that bring glad tidings. We did the work, the good work of declaring the gospel, especially leading up to May 21, 2011. Great multitude is saved, but Christ did it. So just like it could be understood that God shuts the door in the spiritual realm, it's his door, he is the door, his kingdom to enter in and be saved completely according to his sovereign will. And in the Genesis account, we see he does the literal shutting. In Isaiah, it's the people of God responding to the command, responding to the will of God, shut thy doors about thee. Now, how could that work itself out in the world, where we're at, by the things we teach? Because we ministered an entrance into the kingdom through declaring the word in the day of salvation. But in the day of judgment, we get the command from on high. We're the lowly doorkeeper. We get the command, come down from on high through the word of God, that the door shuts. And we did get that command through verses like Genesis 7:16. So then we start declaring the door is shut to people. And we are basically involved in the process of shutting the door. When we're telling people this, when we're teaching these things and proclaiming these things. So I don't think it's a matter of our ability to open it. No, we're still always a doorkeeper. When God said, I'm going to save a great multitude, or is a great and effectual door open, then that's what we shared. The Lord saving many people, go to him, cry for mercy. It's a day of salvation and so forth. We were ministering that open door, and now different season. The time has changed, and the revelation of the righteous judgment coming forth from the Bible gives us the instruction that we have to tell people. Now, it never was us that as it were a doorkeeper holding the door open, but God opened, and with us or without us, that door would have been open. Likewise, when God shuts, he's the one who shut it. It's according to his will. We are just telling people it's shut, and with us or without us, it is, a shut door.
In Isaiah 26:20, he is actually shutting the door. We have nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah. It's a similar idea to Joel. In Joel 3, where we read the sun, the day of the Lord, it's judgment day. Verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, which we know matches Matthew 24:29, immediately after the tribulation. And the stars shall withdraw their shining. The stars are figures of the elect. As God promised Abraham, your seed will be as the stars of the heaven for multitude. And the stars have light. And in judgment day, the stars withdraw their shining. The word withdraw is a word that means gather, like gathering fruit in harvest. So, in other words, this starts with God through his word, and he taught us, May 21, 2011 would be Judgment Day. We were confused for a little bit, but then he opens up our eyes of understanding. We start to learn a little bit more over the time since that day, and it starts getting clearer. We're able to share clearer message, more understandable to the child of God who begins to see, as we're sharing, a child of God out, let's say right now, someone who used to listen to family radio and, lost that outreach when Mr. Camping passed away. And of course, I wouldn't suggest or recommend anyone listen now to family radio, but someone who used to listen, they heard all these, they understood it was a true child of God, but lost the connection, the Lord, really, the opening of the scriptures, is unfamiliar with e-Bible fellowship and maybe is out there drifting. Could be someone in another country, let's say in China. And, by God's grace, there is a group of e-Bible fellowship listeners that are in China, and I think they have their own outreach on something like Twitter or something similar, and they're putting this material out. They're translating e-Bible stuff, putting it out. So now there's an elect man, and he's in China on a farm, and he finds that QQ group, and he begins to hear these things. He may be a former faithful listener of family radio, Mr. Camping, and it starts to make sense. You see, up until then, let's say 2024, and he just hears today, up until now, he's been telling people the same thing. You got to get saved. God is merciful. Go to God. See, he's trying to conduct himself as a star or an open door. Similar thing. The star shines light. The sun, moon, stars were the lights of the gospel, basically. But when he's contacted by others and he begins to understand, then the stars withdraw their shining. There's another elect who was set up as a star, no longer going to proclaim or evangelize, no longer going to say the door is open, realizes it's shut, and so he withdraws. He's been gathered in. And that's, a similar idea to we shut the doors about us.
Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more new open forum excerpts that will be added periodically.